I did a lot of things wrong, but I still got here, which is kind of the one thing that I want to impress upon other people is that you're going to make mistakes and you're going to do the quote wrong thing, and being able to learn from that and correct moving forward is how you're going to build a business.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a fun one. I can assure you that. Our returning guest is the CEO of BBA Bookkeeping, and she is a Pure Bookkeeping licensee. Beth Blaney, welcome back to the show.
Oh, yay. Thank you, Michael. I'm so excited to be back and honored, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's our honor to have you back. And, I really do want our listener to kind of get an idea of who you are and sort of your journey. You've been on the show before, but recently you sent an update email to myself and a few people here, and your monthly gross or your annual gross income goals are getting destroyed and crushed and smashed like crazy. And I'd love for you to tell your journey, kind of where you were and then where you are today, just to kind of give people that backstory if they haven't already heard your podcast from the past.
Sure, absolutely. Well, let's see. I'll go to 2021. I can't remember if we met in 21 or 22, but in my business, the gross revenue in 21 was 430. In 22, gross revenue was 700. And this year, our goal is the big 1 million.
Wow. That's amazing.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. We've had lots of guests on the show. I mean, we've been doing this since 2016. I think we're almost approaching 350 or more than that. I'm not even sure anymore. I stopped counting a while ago. But every episode's interesting. But when I hear someone with the results like that, I mean, that's a remarkable achievement.
Thank you so much. It's very, very exciting.
It is. And so let's go back to the very beginning. How did this even become an idea that you would have a bookkeeping business?
I had no idea it would become a bookkeeping business. I just thought that I was going to go out and work for myself and be an outsourced bookkeeper. That was it. I had a niche that I was very familiar with and sort of known around the Boston area for, and that was great. I was perfectly fine with that. And then I started working like 35 hours a week or so, and I thought, oh, this is too much. If I'm going to work for myself, I don't want to be working full time. I hired somebody to help out in 2018. She's now been with me for just about 5 years, and she's full time now. Somewhere along the way, I caught the entrepreneur bug, and it just kind of turned into a business. And I'm the type of person that's constantly learning and trying to absorb information and trying to be the best at whatever it is that I'm doing. Little psycho that way. And, so it went from being this outsourced bookkeeper to building a business and then learning how to build a business, which I think we've all done and are continuing to do every day.
Wow. So this really, it didn't intend to build $1 million bookkeeping business.
Heck no.
And what was it like? When did the $1 million goal become $1 million goal?
So it's interesting. I always thought of, I think a lot of entrepreneurs have that $1 million thing, and it's such an arbitrary number. Right. It's just, okay, that's a nice even number. It goes from 6 figures to 7 figures. Sure, let's shoot for that. That's not where it came from for me. For me, I work with an amazing business strategist, and we get together at least twice a year and go through my numbers. She's actually a former CFO, so she's got the accounting background, and she's a general business strategist, so she gets the whole picture. And one of the things that she does that's so special is that she starts with, how much money do you want to take home? And then we back into, okay, how much money do you need to be making? What does your profit need to be? How many employees does that mean you get to have? And what does your pricing need to look like in order to allow all those things to happen? So when we were doing our 23 planning, we came to that number literally by backing into it from what I want to take home this year. It was sort of magical, I guess, to have this clear path of how many employees I get to hire this year, what makes sense. We're not just looking at a gross number of 1 million to say, for ego purposes, to be like, hey, I had 1 million. It's really about the profit, which I think we all as bookkeepers know is of much more importance.
Yes, absolutely. And I like how you're sort of reverse engineering what you want to make in the business to the number that number needs to be.
Yeah.
We'll get back to the interview right after this word from our sponsor. Get ready to fast forward your bookkeeping business into the future with the Successful Bookkeeper Technology Showcase on June 22nd, 2023. This one-day virtual event is the perfect opportunity to connect with industry experts, leading technology providers, and find solutions and efficiencies for your business. But that's not all. Our keynote presenter, Teresa Slack, co-founder of Financially, will share the technology stack that has helped them build a near 7-figure bookkeeping business. You'll learn about the latest and greatest apps, software, and features that can take your business to the next level. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to revolutionize your bookkeeping business. Register today at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com/showcase and join us on June 22nd. See you there. Thank you for hearing from our sponsor. Now let's get back to the interview. Now, let's jump back a little bit. So it's it's a remarkable number, though. Nonetheless, it is a round number. A lot of people talk about it. It's still a big number for a bookkeeping business. When you were getting started, I'm curious. Looking back now, what do you feel? It's kind of two parts. Like, what do you feel you got right from the beginning, and then also, I'd love to hear, like, where did you make some mistakes?
Michael, do any of us get anything right from the beginning? There were a lot of mistakes.
I guess breathing. We breathe every day. Yes. It's like, nailed it. I nailed breathing today.
I woke up every single day, mostly.
Yeah, nailed that.
Wow. So I did a lot of things wrong, but I still got here, which is kind of the one thing that I want to impress upon other people, is that you're going to make mistakes and you're going to do the quote wrong thing, and being able to learn from that and correct moving forward is how you're going to build a business. I mean, most of us didn't go to school for entrepreneurial studies. And just the same as we didn't go to school for bookkeeping. Maybe we went to school for accounting, or maybe we went to school for something else, or didn't go at all. And it's just such a learning process, and you have to be open to that and really be a sponge. So I would say, I guess that's something I did right, was allowing myself to learn and accepting the fact that I did not know it all. And I needed mentors and coaches and people who had been there, done that, surrounding me. I think one of the things that I did right, which you hear me say all the time, just when I talked to you on the last podcast and today, joining Lisa Campbell's A2A program and, becoming a pure licensee. Those were two of the best decisions that I ever made. that came from the mistakes that I had made and what I wanted to see the future looking like. And to be able to say, I can't do this alone. I don't know all the things. I haven't been there. Could I figure out all the things eventually on my own? Maybe. But having the support really makes it faster, easier, more efficient, and just really sort of gives you that peace of mind that, okay, I'm going in the right direction.
Mm. It's a valuable tip. I mean, I've said it on the podcast probably way more than I have fingers to count on. But it's not it's the books you read, the people you surround yourself with. Those are the things that are going to define who you are 5 years from now. Those two things: the people that you surround yourself, books you read. Now, books you read, it's kind of an old quote. It's like what you're consuming, what you're learning, how you're, like you said, you're always looking to learn new things, go deep on topics, because that's what shapes you, the people that surround you and the information you put inside of your brain. And so a lovely thing to get right out of the gate. Now, I'm curious, there's some, if we think of pillars of the bookkeeping business, we've got sales, we have marketing, you've got production. These are some of the things that are talked about in eMyth Bookkeeper. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, because you have growth. I would suspect and guess that acquiring new clients was not a huge problem for you.
No.
What has been your secret to success around client acquisition?
Oh boy. Being completely authentic. Now, I think we mentioned this last time, but we're on a podcast, so people can't see me, but I'm pretty heavily tattooed. I sometimes have crazy colored hair. I don't right now because, the wedding's in a month and a half, and I've got to be ready for that. But
yes,
really just being myself and showing that to people, and not being accounting-y or bookkeeper-y, really attracts the right kinds of people that I want to work with, people that I can be silly with, and just being totally myself. It's such a relief, because in the very beginning you kind of try to fit into this mold. And you're like, okay, I need to get clients, so I need to be professional, and I need to put out this certain vibe and act a certain way. And at some point I went, no, this is actually attracting the wrong clients. And we were doing so well, and we were bringing in clients left and right, that I got to that point where I said, no. This is me. I'm not hiding my tattoos. I'm not hiding my F-bombs. I'm not hiding who I really am, my excitement for your business, my passion for, helping you succeed your business, just to be a, data entry bookkeeper. Like, that's not what we are. So really being able to embrace that myself and to be able to put that out there has really brought in, the right kind of clients. I think another big win for us in terms of advancing and scaling the business was bringing in an operations manager. We would not be where we are today without our operations manager. And
tell that story. I'd love to hear that one.
Yeah. So I remember I was actually in the A2A program, and I was trying to decide between bringing on a sort of, quote, lower level admin versus a more operations manager. And I was really struggling with that because I'm thinking cost, right? I'm thinking I'm at this place where, I'm on the precipice of really starting to profit in my business. And so adding on somebody who was not going to be a direct money maker, like a bookkeeper, was a really hard thing to swallow. So I was really erring more on the side of the lower level admin. I'm like, okay, I can pay somebody, low money to do a lot of this basic stuff. And I got on an A2A community call. And that's, another one of the amazing things about that program is the community, and hearing from people who've been there, done that. And one of the other members, when I brought up the question, said to me, our operations person is the highest paid person in our company.
Wow.
and absolutely the most important. And it was such an aha moment for me because I've been an executive assistant in my former life. I know how important that role is. It's not just some sort of throwaway admin junk position. It's vital. And hearing that gave me the confirmation that I needed to go for a real operations person. Now, I was really lucky because I knew a woman who I had worked with years ago, and we had stayed friends, and I knew she'd be amazing. And I reached out to her and I said, "How much do you hate your job?" And she said,
Nice.
well, I'm not going to tell you really what she said. She said something that made me realize how much she really hated her job. And I said, "Well, what would it take for you to come and work for me?" And she told me her price. And I threw up in my mouth a little bit. And I was like, that's more than I'm taking home right now. I can't do that. And I had to really do some soul searching and say, you know what? I've got savings. The business is growing. She's going to help the business continue to grow. I'm going to suck it up and do it. And I have never once looked back. We have grown exponentially since she's been on. She is my right hand. She is my left hand. She is the implementer to my visionary. She makes this business run.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you know, I'm curious because you found someone who had that experience that brought that, but was there a lag time between her coming on and being able to bring sort of your expectations for what you would want in that role?
I mean, there's definitely a lot of communication in the beginning. She hadn't worked in a similar type of business to what I'm in. She had worked in more corporate businesses, in more of a, managerial COO sort of function. So when she first came to me, she was very corporate. I think that was the biggest difficulty that we had, was me uncorporatizing her and teaching her that our culture and our brand is very laid back, is very friendly, is very, partnership with our clients. But other than that, it's just, she had the soft skills. That's what it was. She didn't have experience working with bookkeepers. She knew nothing about bookkeeping. She had managerial experience. She had figure it out experience. And so immediately she was bringing value to the business. And another place where she brings value is just having somebody to bounce things off of. And I get to be the visionary. I get to come up with big, crazy, ideas and hairy, audacious goals and, all those things. And she brings me back down to reality, and we sort of meet in the middle someplace, which is, invaluable to scaling a company.
Wow. It's exciting. And that seems like that's been one of your key things to getting to where you are today. I'd like to hear the story now of getting to 1 million. What are you going to do? Is there anything that you're going to do differently?
Oof, yes. So I like to I like to quote. Well, I don't know who it's really quoting, Michael, but a friend of mine who's a marketer likes to talk about, what got you here won't get you there. And I've really, really kept that in my mind. Of, getting here has been in a lot of ways easy in terms of client acquisition and, hiring. And I'm going to take that back. Hiring has not been easy.
So you had some success there, but
I have had
some setbacks, sounds like.
Yes.
We'll tackle that after this question. Yeah.
So one of the things that I really am focusing on this year, as we went into this year, even though we had a goal of 1 million, that was not my biggest goal for the company. My biggest goal for the company was, and still is, staff happiness and longevity. So I know that I can't grow and scale this business if I don't have amazing staff who do an amazing job with the compliance work and also do an amazing job with our customers and also are happy and not overwhelmed and are well taken care of. They're going to leave, or they're going to be unhappy and miserable, or, a million different things. But if I can keep them here and keep them sort of bought in to the brand and the goals and everything, then I can scale as much as I want because it's all about them. So while I've always cared about culture and I've always cared about my staff, this year it became the primary focus because I cannot scale without that staffing piece being completely solid. I'd also say saying no to more clients is helping me scale. Something that I very much learned from Lisa is, that ideal client and who's a good fit for you. We really parse that out very well. And I have a whole network of bookkeepers that I can refer people to if they're not the right fit for us, because it doesn't mean they're not a right fit for somebody else. But really being able to sort of say goodbye to some people that weren't a good fit and to be able to really attract and keep those clients that are a great fit. Whereas, when you're in the beginning of your business, you sort of take anybody and everybody. And we hear all about this, ideal client, your ideal client avatar, and you're supposed to. But when it comes to looking at those dollars coming in, you go, yeah, but I have to. And you get to a point where you go, no, I don't have to. And I can open up the door for the people that I want. And that's only going to help me grow. It's not going to hinder. It's going to help me grow. So I think those are some sort of huge mindset shifts that have to happen as we're continuing to think about how much are we going to scale? Do we want to grow? Is there a stopping point? What do we need to be doing differently now than when we were trying to hit 250 or trying to hit 500?
Very interesting. And you mentioned something, just to step back to the hiring. How has that journey been? What have been some of the highs and lows of that?
Oh my goodness. I have this tendency to fall in love with people. And it's really hard. I want to hire the people that I fall in love with. And I've been burned by that on a business level, because maybe they're more green than I would like them to be. Or maybe they, I had more faith in them than maybe they had in themselves. I'm a fixer. So I think that I have this imaginary world where I can fix anybody. I can teach anybody to be a great bookkeeper. And that's just not true.
Yeah.
So, really that's been a struggle for me. Again, having Kate, my operations manager, now take part in the hiring process brings me back to reality. We follow the pure process. So she does the phone interview with each person before they even get to me, and they don't all get to me. So she combs through the resumes. We actually have a really, really fun and interesting questionnaire that people have to fill out in order for them to even get to the phone interview potential.
Nice.
And, going through that pure process to find them has really made it a lot different for us. And it takes out a lot of that emotional piece, which is hard because, Michael, I want there to be an emotional piece too. I don't want to just hire drones, especially to maintain my culture and maintain the BBA brand. They need to be able to be people who can talk to clients, who can joke with clients, who can, strategize with clients. We're not just data entry people. So, finding that balance of somebody who fits the culture and can do a really great job at bookkeeping is not easy, but let me tell you, when you find those right people, man, it's beautiful.
Lovely. And it's very interesting in the fact that you've found the solution, which is likely a challenge for many of our listeners, which is if you're just looking at a potential hire on your own, it's one set of eyes, and you've got your own strengths, your biases, all these different things. When you have another person added to the mix that helps clarify things, maybe, we both feel this way, it gives you confidence that two people or two heads, they say that's another cliche, two heads are better than one. This is for those cliches. They're cliches for a reason.
Yes.
Because they're true. We just say them too much, maybe. But I liked hearing that journey, and something for our when you're hiring in any business. I think it's such a critical point. A lot of energy goes into it to even find somebody, interview them, get them to a point of being able to hire, and then all of the work that goes into training them, ramping them up in the business. A huge investment to get it right out of the gate, or increase your chances of getting it right out of the gate. Definitely worth the work to make sure that gets done correctly.
Absolutely. And, another thing that I embarrassingly did not do prior to Pure, I never checked references. Never did it. It was just like, I just thought that my gut was smart enough. And now that I've got Kate, and now that we're following a process, we are checking references, and I'm getting some surprisingly good information out of those references. Wow. I thought it was just kind of one of those frou-frou things that you do because you're supposed to, and no one's actually really going to tell you anything of value. But we've actually gotten a lot of value out of them.
It's one of those things that you're not the first person that said that. It's another bias. Like, well, who would give a referral that wasn't a good referral, right? But just because someone thinks they're giving a good referral doesn't mean that person's going to be a good referral, right? There's data there, there's information, powerful information that can come through on something along those lines to making your decision.
Yeah.
So now you've got a big year ahead. You've got this big target. What do you feel will be the next leg of the journey? What is the theme going to be around this next leg?
Oh, Michael, I got some stuff.
Yeah.
So, definitely continuing to grow the bookkeeping itself business. I've been moving more into an advisory role. I am about to roll out some new packaging for my existing clients. The word advisory had always been really scary to me, and from other bookkeepers I've talked to, they felt the same way. I'm not qualified to be a financial advisor, right? I'm not qualified to be a CFO, because to me, advisor meant CFO. But what I've found through having conversations with clients is I'm really valuable as a business consultant, right? As a bookkeeper, we see who they're using for software. We see who they're using for vendors. We see, who they're hiring, what they're doing. We see so much more than just the numbers. That advisory doesn't have to just mean, okay, well, let's talk about a budget, and this is what you did last year. No, I leave budgeting and forecasting and all that to the CFOs. We don't do that at BBA. We are accountants/bookkeepers who pay attention to the business as a whole. So my advisory, to me, what that means is working with clients and saying, okay, I understand that you need to hire an operations manager. This is what that would look like. This is where your profit is right now. This is how it would change that. Sometimes it has nothing to do with the numbers. Sometimes somebody just wants a place to vent and a place to talk. Or the fact that I'm also an entrepreneur. So I've seen it. I've been there. I've done that. I refer people all the time to those that I network with. Even something simple like, so I don't do much of the bookkeeping anymore. That's what my staff are doing. And recently I had a call with a client who I hadn't talked to in months. And all I saw of his books were just the final, reports at the end of the month. And he started talking to me about how he's a photographer and a videographer. And he started talking to me about how he's really growing into this marketing space, and he's, starting to do websites, and he's doing consulting, and he's doing, strategy and all these things. And I'm looking at his P&L going, there's only one income account. And unfortunately, sometimes our bookkeepers are very sort of singularly focused and aren't thinking in that strategic kind of way that I think we as entrepreneurs do. And so in looking at that and listening to him talk, I went, would it be helpful for you for us to split out your different types of income so that you can see, how each sort of department is doing? And he went, oh, you can do that? And he was the happiest person on the planet. Just something that to us is such a simple thing. So to me, that's what advisory is. So I'm moving more into that. And I also have a new project that I am not going to talk to you about yet, Michael.
No.
But I will tell you about it once it happens. I have a new moniker, which is the Badass Bookkeeper. And that will be my sort of branding piece for the new stuff that's to come.
Very cool.
Yes.
You're
going to love it.
Very cool. I love it. I love it already. Well, I just to get back to, what I think is badass is that advisory piece, consulting, business coaching, whatever the case may be, whatever we want to call it, quite frankly, sitting with somebody and asking questions and sitting back and looking at their business from the data and information that you have, which is very intimate with the business owner, it's so valuable. And I think often in the busy world that we live in, people are stepping over that because number one, it's valuable, but it's not valuable if you can't charge for it or don't know how to charge for it. And if you're not able to position the value of it. But I would say that, and it's not rocket science, one of the most valuable things that you could do for a business owner is to really look at their business, let them feel that you hear them, understand them, get them, and then provide feedback that's going to help them get to where they want to get to. And just like that one little piece of, or one switch or change of their reporting is going to make a massive difference for this business owner in terms of how they make business decisions and see the fruits of their labor, right?
Yes.
Because if they're not getting any data back, I mean, the data's all there. It's just not being recorded or reported correctly. But it's like, yeah, we can record it and report it. And that's also what you're saying with your team, right? Often we're just doing it the way that it's been done, the way we think it should be done. And we're not critically thinking about it. And neither is the business owner because they have no idea and it's not their thing. So I just absolutely love that. I think there's tons of opportunity for that. And being able to be with a business owner and provide that listening, there's very few opportunities for a business owner and entrepreneur to have that with anyone. And we've talked about that on the podcast, I know for sure, but it's an important one to remember. The relationship between a bookkeeper and a business owner is unique in that they're sharing very sensitive information. You're right there at something's very important to them. If it's the profits, right? Maybe not all of the work that gets done is not that interesting to them, but the outcome, did I make money, not make money? How can I make more of it? How can I keep more of it? All that good stuff. Very, very good conversation to have with someone, right?
Yeah.
So I love that you've brought that up, and it's a great direction for you, most definitely, and exciting times for your business.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to know from your listeners sort of who else has that limiting belief of I can't be an advisor. I can't do advisory. I'm not, and it really is, it's a limiting belief, and so it's just a matter of thinking about it differently. And what does that mean to you? And what's your zone of genius in that advisory world.
We'd love to hear. We'd love to hear. He can let Beth know. We'll have some details here shortly, but you can also just shoot it over to support@thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com and let us know. Say, hey, this is what Beth asked. This is what I feel is going on for me. We'd love to get some of that feedback.
Totally.
Beth, this has been absolutely a pleasure, and I want to thank you on behalf of our listeners for your generosity, coming on the show, sharing your remarkable results and vision for the future, and how some of the ways you've gotten there. And so I'd like to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I always have a blast talking to you, and I love the feedback that comes out of your brain when someone else tells you something. It's like you take ideas that people are telling you and then you expand upon them in this such a powerful way. And that's one of the reasons I love listening to your podcast. So you've taught me today.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback and glad that it's been valuable. Most definitely. It's not video, but if we did, you'd see me blushing. So great to have you, Beth. And if now, before we do let you go, just want to make sure if people want to learn more about you, they want to make sure they don't miss out on whatever Badass Bookkeeper is going to be. What's the best way for people to learn more about you, get information?
Sure. So we just started an Instagram account, thebadass.bookkeeper. You can also go to thebadassbookkeeper.com. And also on Instagram is just bbabookkeeping.com. Definitely check us out, follow us. I love to post fun stuff and, be not boring.
Love it. That's great. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's wonderful guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.